Hi, welcome to Shark Bait. Nice to have you with me this morning. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about a line that you may not be aware of, but the parent company, you certainly are. The company is Fishlab, and they make lures and a number of different things. Tackle bags are a thing of prime interest to us. Unusual year, 2001, here it is, beginning of June. And we're seeing, as I mentioned in the last video, a bit of clown world. It's, in sport fishing and recreational vehicles, boat sales, everything else, a lot of people rediscovered outdoor sports last year. And demand was high. And thankfully, with the exception of some hooks and some things that ran into short supply, we had pretty good supplies last year. This year, starting out the season, we saw a lot of factories that don't have the stock they did last year. In fact, we did some math on a couple of vendors where we could see the inventory, and it was looking like they were entering the season with about 30% of the stock they had in prior years. Now, that's primarily with the big majors. The domestic manufacturers, different story. They are typically family-owned businesses, and they kept their foot on the pedal. With respect to tackle bags, particularly challenging arena over the last 20 years that I've seen, with some nice companies coming and going. It's not an easy thing to do, to inventory big bulky items. And as imports, even more difficult because you're shipping an awful lot of air. Warehousing is expensive unless there's another business entity that's using the same space. Difficult. In the past few years, Nomad is a name that we knew, not the lures, tackle storage. Nomad was a trade name that Okuma had held, and I guess still does. But one of their employees, I'll go back a little bit. Okuma benefited through association with a number of other firms as they were transitioning that company from really mass merchandise to really good stuff. The really good stuff, came by way of listening, learning, having the right people on staff, and Okuma obviously made great gains over the last 10 years, huge gains. Fishlab was created by one of their employees. One of the companies that they used to be associated with, oh my gosh, was Savage Gear. Savage Gear, big in Europe, came into the U.S. market by way of Okuma acting as their distributor. And Savage felt that they wanted to go ahead and treat the U.S. market more similar to the European market and have control of their own marketing. And so the two companies diverged and split. Savage Gear we certainly maintain on the lure side, but Okuma learned from Savage, and Okuma developed their own series of lures and also tackle storage. Now, this association that Okuma had with other companies, it goes back. Tiburon they were associated with, had the international rights, distributed Tib reels in the U.S. market before Tiburon gave up on that idea. Pakula, Peter Pakula lures. Peter Pakula actually, I'm kind of proud of it. Peter was our first customer at our San Diego shop, which is pretty cool. First customer at our Huntington Beach shop 20 some odd years ago was Jerry Barber, retired CHP officer. And Jerry, son, his family, been long-term fishermen. Used to be associated with a little group that I was part of back in the 90s, the Fish Poets, which is a whole nother story and evolution of guys that were early on the internet. In any event, back to what we're talking about. Fishlab. 3 primary products from this company. They have a backpack and 2 roller bags, and they're the only ones that I'm aware of right now with roller bags. We've had several companies over the years with those, with that feature, which is great because you can, take your gear with you. It doesn't matter how much it weighs. It's on kind of a luggage roller type system with the rollers and a handle, and it's easy to lug around with a lot of weight, and big tackle boxes tend to have a little bit of weight in them. Fishlab has a backpack and then 2 roller bags. One smaller than the other. Funny thing. But we'll look at those here just for a minute if we could. Give me just a moment and I'll get things set up. And here we have the 3 pieces. This is the backpack, and the backpack has proper straps, Inside storage is quite good. You've got some pockets, you've got places for a cell phone or whatever else. Also storage up here for a liter or whatever you're putting. Great storage on the top. On the top we have an area you can put your clothes or lunch or whatever else. Again, there's additional storage there. And then in the bottom section we have, again, more storage and a pocket here. Lots of wonderful nooks and crannies to stick stuff in. And of course we also have our boxes. And this one uses the 3600 size boxes. There are basically two sizes of these storage boxes that are standard in tackle boxes, a 3600 and a 37. This comes with 4 stacked in the bottom. And the price point, at this point, with the boxes, which weren't initially available, now they are about 110 to 120 bucks for these guys. Again, pricing will be on the website, so look at the website for that. Good straps, even one for the waist to deal with some weight. Nice piece. Then we get into the smaller roller bag, and the smaller roller bag takes advantage of the same, let's see where our straps are. Looks like we got one there. Here we go. Similar in terms of the storage, except 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the trays. Again, 3600 size. Storage on the flap, if you can see here, 3 different storages here. They could be used for various things. Actually 2, I guess. On the sides, we have rod tubes. So you've got rocket launchers effectively here. And it's a reinforced tube, and then you've got the material around it. That's secured at the bottom as well. Has a way for it to drain through the bottom. That's the back. We have a large handle that you can't make out very well, but it's very convenient. Brings it up to the right height so you can load this thing around. We have rollers on the bottom. Again, our storage on the side for rods. So you've got 4 rocket launchers in this bag. And then for the larger bag, the largest bag, basically the same sort of product, except now we have the bigger boxes. And nice, they give us a big double the width. So for big poppers and large items, very convenient. It's going to hold the big lures, the big 200 size poppers or whatever in there, all padded. And then you've got 3 other 3600 size storage trays. Now these are using Velcro tabs and then call them shelves within. Definitely put your weight on the bottom, put the lighter stuff above as far as storage. We still have storage on the top, or the lid you might say. On the top of the box, just like the smaller one, and I probably didn't show that, we have storage up here with dividers, so you could put reels or whatever up in the top. You've got another your shoulder strap at the top. Everything zips up. Again, we've got the big handle and our 4 rod storage. Okay, pricing on these pieces is quite aggressive. The backpack, as mentioned, is 109 to 119 bucks. And then on the 2 roller bags, you're at 154 bucks for the smaller one. And for the large, it's 165, 169 in that range. Less than 170 bucks and around 150 bucks for the small one. So they're priced well. They're well made. They're backed by a major manufacturer, Okuma. Warranty is good. They've always been good as far as support of their products. Pricing's aggressive, and they're the only game in town that I'm aware of that really offers what they do. Well thought out products. They've had the experience of that with the Nomad products before, that had a couple of roller bags too. And those were nice. These are even nicer, in my opinion. I think anyone else checking them out. So, thank you for watching. That's it for Fishlabs. Neat company, glad to have them, thank goodness, especially this year with Cloud World. Just some background. Stock on these guys has been very limited. We introduced them back, during our Fred Hall Show sale in March, and then quickly inventory dried up. We were concerned about tackle bags, in general, for this season. And so we jumped on what was available at Okuma and basically cleaned them out. So we'd have inventory. And as it turns out, that was a pretty doggone good move. We also did a closeout of one of the Nomad bags, and so that's also up on the website as we have stock. That one does not have the rollers, but it is similar to the medium-size Fishlabs without the roller feature. So you take a look at that one, that'll be on the website. That's under the Nomad name. But in terms of supply, we've seen a lot of things dry up. For the first time in 21 years, 23 years I've been associated with SKB, they can't supply their biggest hard box, the big 7200s. Those things are gone until October time. So having the bigger roller bag even more important at this point in time. SKB will have, or at least at the current time, we have the 7100s and the 7000s available. But I would think those probably will have issues too as the season rolls on and demand increases. What we see is that those companies that are producing are seeing the normally expected increase in demand, but add to that demand that's created when other manufacturers didn't step up and project their sales appropriately, or whatever the reasons, weren't able to support inventory. That pushes more demand on the other manufacturers, and that creates its own shortages. Kind of like the toilet paper issue that ended up making paper towels a little hard to come by, but that's another story. In any event, thank you for watching. We'll get through Clown World, and of course, that's the reason, one of the reasons that we go fishing. We can get into a little different reality that makes a hell of a lot more sense. Thank you for watching the videos, and thank you for the support that you've shown us over, my gosh, 20 some odd years worth of existence. Much appreciated. And this season, fishing's off the hook. Tackle's going to be a challenge. We know that, but we're trying to be a step ahead of that so we can supply folks. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Bye-bye. Mark out.
Your name should be
Shark bait.